Let's begin. Everybody, welcome to Agree with Austin, episode 9. Who am I here with today?
I'm Jake. It's nice to meet you.
Likewise, nice to meet you. Now, Jake, I always start with this question.
Yeah.
Tell me, how did the concept of wrestling become an idea for you?
Do you mean becoming a wrestler? Or...
Yeah, the concept or idea of becoming a wrestler. How did that start for you?
Yeah, man. When I was a kid, I wasn't always very popular, right? You know, I had friends and stuff like that, but I was more of a homebody.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I would always
Had
watch
your secluded group?
Yeah, well, yeah, that, and yeah, absolutely. And you have your close friends and everything like that you stay close with, But for me, growing up, watching wrestling was always an escape for me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was always a way to relax and just enjoy myself for 2-3 hours a day or something like that. If there was Friday night and Monday night and everything, I wanted to watch it, and then I always grew up a fan as a kid, watching it with my dad, and somewhere along the way, I thought to myself, this is what I want to do, and I pondered doing a lot of, and I did a lot of different things for a long time, and I wasted a good amount of time, and I made a lot of excuses, as far as why I didn't do it, but I got to a point in my life where
Sooner.
Yeah, I wish I would have done it a lot sooner, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I made a lot of mistakes growing up, and I had my own demons and everything that I've had to overcome and everything like that, but I made a decision one day to choose myself, and I started to go through that metamorphosis of a journey of I used to be a little over 300 pounds, and I've worked myself all the way down to where I'm at now, which roughly is a lot lower. Dropped almost a whole person. I look rather different today. And that's just from doing things the right way and making no excuses and just showing up and working hard. And then I ended up moving out from Chicago, Illinois, out here to South Carolina in 2021. Right, so I moved out here with my family, and my intention of moving away from everything that I've ever known was, I want to venture out and I want to try something new, and for me that was wrestling.
Okay.
So I did a couple of things here and there, and then I was at the gym one day working out, and I saw a flyer on Facebook, right, for training from the Palmetto Wrestling Academy. And just a couple of days prior, I had gone to a show for PCW, which is the promotion that a lot of the students and everything like that will perform on at some point. Right down the street in Camden, right down the street from where I live now.
Yeah.
So I went to that show, and I was, like I said, I was at the gym, and I saw that little thing, and I'm like, man, this is a sign. So I messaged the app, and I met Ethan, and Ethan's been an incredible mentor and just an incredible person in general. But I came to his school to start, chasing my dream, and it all stemmed from just betting on me and wanting to know that I at least did everything I could without making excuses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted to at least know that I tried.
Yeah.
And know that I gave everything my best effort, and know that I'm worth it. And I made the choice to make myself worth it.
Absolutely. And kind of went into next question. Who was your inspiration when you first started?
First started wrestling? Who's the one that
first started training? Yeah.
What got me into training? Person or
yeah, ultimately, who was that last step?
Dad. Well, who's the what do you mean? Got me to do it?
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Me.
Okay.
I was. My dad was the initial inspiration growing up. When I was a kid, he's where I got it from, the love of wrestling from. But when I got older and I got to be about 21, 22, and I started to want to really seriously look for something to do. Mm-hmm. I didn't start getting into training until I was 24, but from 21 to 23, I was working on my body and working on myself and just who I was as a person at that time.
It's preparing yourself for
absolutely
the future,
I was changing. I had a lot of things I didn't like about me, and I had to change them. I'm proud to say now I'm 4 years sober from drinking,
Congratulations.
Thank you. I started, I had issues when I was younger and, had to give it up, and I recognized those issues young because I had a big problem with it, but not no longer. Now we're, sober as a Dover, sober as a Rover, enjoying life and living like a villain.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, my dad was definitely the thing that first got me into it. But I was the deciding factor of this is what I want to be and this is who I want to be.
Okay.
I want to make, I want to make my own mark.
Yeah, I got you. How you individualize yourself, basically. That's how you, yeah. How do you continue to motivate yourself? Whether it's like on a bad day or just in general, it's like, hey, I can do this, sort of, Any practices you take or any specific regimen you follow?
It was a very long process to get to where I'm at now with everything. Like
Okay.
now it's almost like it's second nature to just know that this is what I have to do and that if I came to an understanding at some point in life where you're not going to do everything that you want to do. But
Yeah.
if you do everything that you have to do to get what you want, then it's worth it. So for me it's days when I think of like, oh, I don't want to do this, oh, I don't want to get up, oh, I don't want to do that, like honestly, I don't really have a lot of those days because this is what I want to do. I think what makes the biggest difference is, the passion or the drive that you have for something. Like to me, it's not a chore, to go to a wrestling class and spend 3 hours there and, work things out or stay after and work things out or take multiple bumps in a row because someone wants to tweak something to get it just right.
Yeah.
Like staying however long after class to talk and hang out and just chop it up with people and everything like that. Like, for me, like, to me, this is my escape from reality. And not even like reality, but this is where I want to be and what I want to chase.
Yeah.
And I know this is the place that you need to be to start that, and I think it's one of those things where you really have to look inside and figure out what you really want. Like, to me, I want to be able to perform. I want to be in front of people. I want to show everybody what happens when you bet on yourself and you don't give up. Because I think a lot of people would be surprised at what happens when, when you take yourself seriously. Because, I think there's a lot of self-doubt in this world. And I think one thing, like, for me is, like, I have plenty of self-doubt, but I'm not going to let my own doubts hold me back. Because if I doubt me and I'm not even thinking I can do this, why wouldn't anybody else doubt me? Fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail, but I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
And you know what?
You'd rather try and fail than not try at all.
Absolutely. And like, I'm not gonna always be the best at something, but you know what? I can work harder and get better. You know what? Growing up, a big thing with me was I was always the most improved at things, and they made fun of me for a while with that. But something that I made sure to let them know, it's like, hey, like, while y'all always like got here, like we're here and stayed there, I was always down here, but I always got to where you were at or better because you know what? I'm not a quitter and I don't give up. And you know what? I'm a very competitive individual, and I'm someone who, you know what? I grew up with a lot of brothers, and I got a little sister who is a hell of an athlete. Like, I understand what it takes to put in the work that's required. I understand everything that you need to do and all the sacrifices that are required to get to where you want. I don't necessarily know what they all are, but I know that I'm prepared to make them because that's the path I want to go down. And I think what everyone needs to understand is everyone has their own path and their own way and their own, journey that they're taking on life. And I think it's important.
Absolutely.
What?
Oh, I was like, absolutely, yeah. Everybody's different.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to, like, understand that, you don't need to compare yourself to others to recognize, like, your success. And I think, like, the successes that I have aren't the successes that you have, and they're just as big for you as they are for me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Just because I'm doing this doesn't mean, like, you compare that to this, or just because, and you might not understand, too, that just because I have this, I might be jealous of the fact that you have what you have.
Yeah.
Like, there's always, a shoe on the other foot, like, you never know what someone else is going through. Like,
Yeah. So, imagine you can be in my spot and have the chance to interview any wrestler, past or present, live, dead. Who would it be?
Interview them?
Yeah, interview them, talk, pick their brains.
Triple H.
Triple H?
Man took over an industry.
Sure did. And
Honestly, yeah.
at the point he did, it was dying. Honestly, in my personal opinion,
Yeah,
and look at the glory he's brought it to now.
absolutely. Like, he took over an empire.
Yeah,
You know, that'd be my guy I'd want to talk to.
it's like, all right, how do you do that? Grab your notepads. Yeah,
Yeah, like, he learned from the guy that made it all.
yeah,
Like, why wouldn't you want that? And he's a better version, in my opinion.
yeah. Oh yeah, much better. If you could change one thing to improve the current wrestling landscape, what would it be?
Um, I don't really have an answer for that.
No.
I don't really think, you know, I wish people took training more seriously.
Okay.
I think would be my biggest thing. I just wish people took their health and other people's health more seriously. And I'm not to say like anybody doesn't. I'm just
No,
saying
yeah.
like I wish that was a focal point with everything is, and that goes for a lot of people that, you know, that's not their fault that they get mistrained. But I think if this is something you want to do, it's very important to understand that it's not something that you can learn how to do in, you know, 2 months.
Yeah.
I know, and I think it's something you need to know that it takes time and it's a craft and an art. You know what I mean? And there's so much more that goes into it than you think it does. And just
Yeah.
wanting to go out there and do cool things is what's, you know, gets people hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the biggest thing I wish people would take away. Like, I think that, like, people being well trained and understanding that and at least being able to protect everybody and themselves at the same time, I think would make wrestling perfect. Other than that, I'm happy with the way things are
Yeah.
going.
All right.
They could always be better, but anything could always be better.
Yeah. Who's the most versatile most versatile wrestler? Sorry, you have worked in training so far.
Everyone's pretty versatile, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of the cool thing about PWA. It's like everybody's pretty versatile in their own way. Like, no two matches are ever the same.
No.
With anybody, you know, like, and the way you are one night isn't the way you're going to be the next week.
Yeah,
know,
you got to
it's-
work your heel, your face side.
Yeah, you work a lot of different people of every different size, and you learn how to work all those people, and it's, you know, a real benefit of working here. But like,
Yeah.
you know, I think everybody's very unique and has their own little things that they bring with them. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
So it's not, I can't choose any one in particular.
And on that note, what do you prefer working? Heel, face? What do you think is easier to get over as for you?
I think it depends on what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the story that's being told.
Okay.
I like it to make sense, and I like to be able to make things register, and I like to have fun. Like,
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to just go out there and do a bunch of stupid stuff. Like,
No, I
wanna
get
go
it.
out there and, you know, like I said, perform and have a good time. You know, and make people happy.
You got to be a reason behind it, but
Yeah.
still enjoy yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, so I think, yeah.
If you had the opportunity to book a dream tag team match for yourself in front of any crowd, who would you choose and where?
A dream tag team match?
Yeah, so who would your partner be? Who would you two be facing?
Team with the Undertaker.
Okay.
Face DX.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. In being a fan and going to different shows for as long as you have, in your opinion, who's got the best wrestling merchandise you've seen?
I don't think that's a question that ever has, like, I don't know. Right now, the best merch, I don't know, Florida Man's got pretty cool gear. Dre's got pretty good gear. Erica's always got pretty cool gear. Raylan's always got pretty cool gear. Everybody's got cool gear,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, again, everyone's unique in their own ways. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I don't really have an answer for that.
Okay. If you could choose a wrestler, whether that's somebody you've met, somebody on TV, to have their own reality TV show, who would it be and what would you call it?
Someone to have their own reality TV show, and what would I call it? I think R-Truth needs his own reality show. Keeping up with little Jimmy.
I like that. Do you have a pre-match ritual?
A pre-match ritual?
Mm-hmm.
No,
No.
not really. I just start getting in. I try to, like, I'm trying this thing where I'm just trying to have fun,
Okay.
right? So now I'm trying to, I guess, just get the right headspace with everything. I'm trying not to think too much about what I'm going to do and more just think about living in the moment and being in the moment and having fun.
Yeah.
I think is a big, thing for me.
Okay. Get yourself like tuned in, ready. Yeah, I got you. Who do you think's the most underrated wrestler in the industry right now? And how do you think they can improve?
The most what?
Underrated?
Dre the Goat. And Florida Man. The most underrated on the block right now. My boys need to get ups because everyone keeps looking past them, and I'm telling y'all right now, those are two you need to watch out for. Also, El Hijo, Del Farmer Farmer. But we're not going to talk about who that is right now.
And I'm going to close out by asking, do you have a plan B or any plan when your wrestling career ends?
Yeah, I got lots of plans. But if I speak them into existence and start thinking about them and talking about them, then that's me acknowledging that I don't think this is going to work out. And
Okay.
I think this is going to work out, and right now I have things I do until I make it to where I want to be.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thank you for your time, Jake. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Now, guys,
You're a whore.
my Instagram, Agree with Austin, as you know. I'm tagging Jake when the episode drops. That's where you can find him.
Don't do that.
Thanks for listening, and let the interviews continue.